Shut up and sit down.
Greetings, internet people! Welcome to what number is this? 139 of Epic Fail. Starting off with a bang, let me tell ya. What can I say? Gotta live up to the name, you know? Anyway, I would have a witty comment, but I've been so busy, I haven't written a witty comment. So my witty comment is, Draven, you suck. I got a guest. Galv is not here this week. He is supporting his girlfriend with her roller derby, I believe is what he said. So he should be maybe back next week. I don't know. But I do have a guest, and she's fairly well known, I would think. At least, you know, in CTR and AIE, as far as I know. And I'm going to butcher the name, so I will apologize. But I'm going to try to do it right anyway. Zephirah?
That's right.
Oh, wrong one. There we go. Technical difficulties, no cameras this week, sorry. So, here, you got some fun kitties. Pictures. One is of a kitty. Anyway. How has your last week or 2 weeks been, Zeph, overall? Gaming, not gaming, however you want to talk about
it. Gaming. Well, let's start with, I got a new computer, sounding really good. All the audio is all set up. Like, it's, like, crisp. I ended up pre-ordering Battle for Azeroth, got my Wood Elf going, ran... on my boosted Paladin, which happens to be Tauren, and Blood of the Scribe through ICC. Didn't get them out. Never do. But, you know, one of these days, you know, the old man Lich King will be nice enough to give me his mount. But
I have a question.
Yeah. Yes.
Even if it dropped, how would you know? Because you couldn't see it.
It's not invisible, it's invincible.
That's what I said. Sorry. It's a long running gag, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But yeah, didn't get the mount. But blogging for the month has been really well so far. You ended up making the community spotlight, Draven. So yay. And
I'm still trying to figure out why, you know, how that happened, but okay, thank you. For those of you who can't see the camera, because no one can, thumbs up. You know, one of those Wayne's World thumbs up.
Well, here's the thing. This is my reason for the community spotlights. Mid-January, I'm like, you know, I'm doing this because I like WoW, I like books, I like music, and I'm reaching out to a community that reads it. So why not involve the community with it? AKA Scott Johnson, Thist, soon to be Thorn, Old Man Franks, all of these people. You guys make content that I find to be really cool. And books are really cool. Like, I'm a nerd, I can't help it. I read too much. So why not?
No, I completely understand why you're doing the spotlight. What my question for you was, because I don't understand it, is why am I put on that list? I don't get it. I'm not asking you to explain that. I'm just in my head, you're putting me on a level higher than I think I should be. If that makes sense.
Right. And a lot of people, and I've gotten that, like, from several people. And because it's a personal thing. Like, I know I've seen your podcast. I think it's cool. So, and that's the whole reason why I do the blog too. Like, I like certain music. You know, Frasley was on there too. Like, I have been on the Frazzlecast a few times. I think it's cool as hell. You know, if I didn't like it, I wouldn't put it there. So,
she likes me. She really likes me.
And I did one with Wicked, which she was really cool about. It's just like, it's so great to see all of the happenings. And I'm like, that, you know, it's just exciting to see what you can do if you just try.
Yeah. I found it kind of funny that we had Wicked on last week, her community spotlight last week. We did not set that up. And then for you're on the show this week, and I'm your spotlight this week. That was not quite set up either. It just kind of coincide, luckily, kind of thing.
And I kind of do these things on a whim too. So it's like, if it coincides, it coincides. But if not, it's cool too.
Yeah. Well, in terms of gaming stuff, like actual in-game stuff, what have you been up to? I heard a rumor about no longer running on a potato.
Yeah, no longer running on a potato. The potato, spud, is in the dirt. It's gone. And I got a new HP, which is lovely. It's one of those nifty Inspiron ones. Like, it is so great. Like, I think I can start raiding again with the rubber chickens. That's how good it is.
Oh. Raiding with them is actually really fun. And I'll be able to not be late from now on, most of the time, probably. So yay! More Meiji goodness. And I'll wait until later for that, but anything else you wanna talk about before I do my week and then we start getting into the show part?
Well, Darkmoon Fair is coming up.
Yay!
So I'm excited for that. Battle Pets on the 6th. Been collecting a lot of pets here recently. You know, Pokemon, gotta catch them all. Frasley knows my obsession with the Pokemon stuffs. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to Darkmoon Fair because that means my Void Elf and Nightborn will get some levels and faster than normal, because who doesn't want the extra 10% on top of the 350% you're already getting, or whatever the percentage is?
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't want to?
Yeah.
Like, I've leveled pets that way. Like, I would do the World Quest out at the Garrison Ashley, out that way, and I've leveled like from like level 10 pets to like almost like halfway through 20 just off of that buff.
Well, I was talking the actual characters, not pets. I honestly have not done anything pet related since the end of MOP. Like, I collected no pets intentionally. I mean, I've done, like, if it was like when I was doing a transmog run, I've collected pets that way. But in terms of going out in the world and battle fighting them and stuff, none. None in WoD, none in Legion. But I'll get there eventually, maybe, probably. It's achievement points, so probably.
Yeah, and you know, if you keep running those old raids, you know, especially like ICC, that has a few pets in it. You know, Blood Boil comes off of there. Lich King himself has a pet that I have. So I mostly run ICC just for, you know, nostalgic reasons and for the mount.
Yep, nothing wrong with that. As for my week this week, it has been pretty much the same as the last several weeks. Helping out relatives who had surgery. And helping out my mom who got new puppies, and she doesn't understand that it's okay if they get put in their oversized crate for a little while she goes off to work. I don't have to be there to watch them non-stop. They're gonna whine, but they'll get used to it. But, you know, I usually get a meal or something out of it. So, you know, could be worse. In gaming, mostly WoW. Very little bit of Overwatch, just because I just haven't had the time. And a little bit of Heroes. I was actually playing Heroes with Wicked last night. Until I don't even want to know how late that was. Or early, depending on your point of view. I did go into Ranked. And I promptly stopped going into Ranked. Because I realized why I stopped going into Ranked. Because people there are stupid.
I have to learn to not be shy in that game now because, you know, I have the hardware now to actually play that game. So I think I might call on Wicked here soon to teach me how to play.
That's fine. I could always, I mean, depending on what else I've got going on, which is usually way more than I tell people. I'm always multitasking. I might be able to help out a little bit too, but you'll want to go through Wicked first because she'll give you a better beginner's guide, and then I will help a little bit past that. But beyond that, I could point you in some directions. I don't know if they'd be able to help, just time factors. But yeah, that's been my week. So that was not a diss, Wicked, by the way. I was just picking on you because that's what we do. And two, you're going to be better at conveying things for a beginner than I would, because I know the terminology of that kind of game. So it wasn't a diss. At least it wasn't intended as such. It was supposed to be a strange compliment. But anyway, interview stuff, since I gotta remember to do that at the start of the show, not at the end of the show, because, yeah, that's how these things work. So anyway, first off, Zeph, I'm just gonna, that way I don't screw the name up, because I will do it if I continue to use the long version, so I'm just gonna say Zeph.
That's fine with me.
Yeah. Where did your name come from, first off?
Actually, I was talking to somebody one day about like just meanings of things and names and whatever. So I was looking for something cool to like attach to a tune. Because before this, I played other MMOs, didn't really think about the names, anything like that. So Zephirah is a feminine variant of Zephyr, which is Greek in meaning, that translates into west wind. It also has a Hebrew affiliation, which is translated into dawn. So essentially, knowing of Warcraft before getting into it, I knew, the West Wind was a title, I think at that point, or, at least had some sort of elemental things, winds and fights and whatever. So the name, if you piece it together, means Dawn of the West Wind.
Well, that's a whole lot more interesting than my name. Last name of a movie character, last name of a book character. Boom, there you go.
Yeah. My real name has a loosely French meaning, so I kind of wanted to stick with that. And, even my other characters that don't have a Z name usually systemically come from, a conversation in guild chat, a whisper, a DM. For example, Maui Moo was a direct result of conversations in guild chat in AIE talking about vacations. And Maui was one of the people that we were talking to. And he was telling us, I think he was telling us about some sort of trip he had taken. So Maui was a place, and plus his name, and then Mu meaning torn, of course. So that's how Maui Mu got her name. And since she's on an RP realm, she's a nut job. She's friends with Zeph. It's a whole thing. But I even told the story on the test stream for Frasley the last week. And Zeph essentially is sort of like Chromie, that she shape-shifted. And Maui actually found her in her shape-shifted form, dragon form, and fed her fruit and kept her as a pet for about a month. So that's a little part of the RP story there. It's crazy, and I love it, but I wouldn't change it.
I've got some interesting names for some of my characters, but most of which could not get into... I don't know about AIE, but I know they couldn't get into CTR. All I'm going to say is there's a reason why a lot of my characters didn't move to Airy Peak, because I was like, that name is too perfect, I have to keep it.
Oh, yeah. And any name that I ever, as a CTR greeter / officer, I've seen a few. None of them will ever be said on any podcast, but, it's like, play what you want. If that's the name that you choose to pick, then that's on you. But just realize that we may not be able to accept it. And this is a perfect example why, is that in AIE, and I'm not quite sure about CTR, but AIE specifically has a group that runs Saturday nights, I think it is. Yeah, I think Saturday or Sunday evenings. And it's called the New Breed. And at one point or another, there has been 2 kids. Like 10, 11. I think one was even 8 at the time. They said, we can't be tossing out F-bombs. We can't have no weird names, because parents do let their children play this game. So let's avoid it. And that's the reason why CTR does what they do with their rules for names. So if I would feel uncomfortable with an 8-year-old reading your name, I'm not inviting you. I'm sorry. Like, it's different for different guilds. But and when I say we, I mean Convert to Raid have to be careful for that reason.
Yeah, that was actually the reason why I didn't bring my paladin over right away. The one whose name I don't mention on the show. I knew that it was going to be pushing the boundaries, and so I asked ahead of time. And they're like, yeah, sure, I don't see a problem with it. So it got in. It was a questionable, I've heard that there's still discussion on about that particular name, but it seems most people are okay with it. But I've got some names that I wouldn't even dream of bringing to CTR because I know they wouldn't get accepted.
And here's the thing, and I don't want to put off no, we're not going to take any name, period. If it's a questionable thing and you're questioning whether you should bring the tune in or not, log into the tune or log into your main, whatever it is. Whether it's me, J-Man's around a lot. There's a lot of greeters around. Bartholomew even has been known as the department head to take an hour or so, throughout the week. If you ever have a question about it, don't think that we're going to yell at you. We're not mean people. Seriously, a lot of these people are super nice, will do anything. If you just say, hey, I have this alt, I want to bring it to the guild, or I have the desire to, and here's the name of the tune. And usually our process is that we among greeters, officers, we all talk about it. It'd be like, hey, you know, like if we even question it and we're not sure, we ask, and it's usually yay, nay. You know, I don't see an issue with this name, or if it is, you know, teetering on the harsher side, they'll be like, no, for this reason, and that's usually at that. And we kind of leave it there. So we don't ever want to make somebody feel like you can't talk to us for any reason. And I even said, you know, even on Frasley's show, even if it's not about a name-specific thing, like if you just want somebody to talk to, jump in LFO. Jump in Guild chat. There is always somebody to talk to. Like, we are more than happy. Or at least I am. You know, like, I don't care. You whisper me and you say, hey, I'm having a pretty cruddy day. And I'll be like, hey, did you listen to Epic Fail podcast? Or did you listen to Lagging Balls? Or did you, you know, what class are you playing? And yada, yada. And it's one of those things where, you know, I'm more than happy to have a conversation.
Yeah. Like I said, I brought my mage over. And because the name I wanted was taken, which would have been Harry Dresden, Hairy is the spelling I was going to go for because of, you know, Worgen. But that name was taken, so I had to think up something else. And, you know, I went with the name I went with because it also made sense. And it was a nice reference to a couple other things, too. And it was amusing to me. And that's the main point. But with my Paladin, the name I had was the name I was keeping on it. So I was like, am I going to bring it to CTR? So I asked ahead of time just to be sure. I didn't think there'd be an issue, but just to be sure. And I said, this is the name. I realize this one particular word is in it. But this is, like, I linked where the name came from. And I'm like, this is where I got the name. And they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. So just because the name is questionable to, like, in my mind, I'm always ultra conservative in terms of that because I know why CTR does it. So I'm always really like, maybe, you know, it's one of those kind of things.
And plus, here's the other thing too: is like, you know, CTR is huge, and like, not even all of my tunes are in the guild, my personal tunes, and they probably all won't be. Only because I do kind of want to have at least one or two tunes to where I'm not, especially if I'm not on officer duty or greeter duty, to where I could just like mind-numbingly play the game and not think about it. So, and I know there's a few of our officers that do that, you know, whether it's a greeter or, you know, events planners or whatever. So, like, I just want to go battle pet. Like, I don't read the chat when I'm just battle petting. Like, I don't. Because I usually have the chat thing up for the battle pets that's default on the UI. And I'm not looking at anything when I'm doing the battle pets. So, like, I'm very ADHD, and I when I get into Pokemon mode, there's no other mode for me.
Yeah. Whenever I was doing battle pets, I was kind of the same, only I did occasionally look at guild chat just to see. I was like, is there anything interesting, or is it, nope, okay, I can go back. But it wasn't a constant, I must read all of guild chat that continues to move. It was more of a, get the pet, okay, is there anything, nope, okay. Just because I might find something like someone's looking for a group, that was the only reason I was looking. So, yeah, there's that. Next question for you. When did you start playing Blizzard stuff? Like Warcraft, or if you played StarCraft, Diablo, anything else?
Honestly, it started with the RTSs. Warcraft 2. Wow, that's a long time ago. And then, I mean, I didn't officially start World of Warcraft until a month or so before Peta. But I've my dad had a friend growing up, ultra nerd. Just when I say ultra nerd, I mean nerdy to the max. Weird Al is jealous of how nerdy these people are. Internet cafe, the whole spiel. Where it's kind of like how the stereotypical hackers movie, early 90s hacker movies. Yeah, all of that plus some. But not as cool looking.
Well, I mean, that was a Hollywood version of that kind of
right,
thing. So,
right.
I don't really think there's going to be a whole lot of Angelina Jolie's and Johnny Lee Millers in that age group being like, I'm a cool hacker. No, you're going to get the glasses and the pimples and you might get a leather coat
and
or
all
something.
of these people are like ugly, but
yeah, they're not movie star quality of good looking.
Right. And I remember him playing Vanilla, playing that early Wrath. Burning Crusade. Jeez, I remember sitting there and seeing him on all these max levels. Before we started to get kind of spoiled with so many classes, so many races, and then you can only be Alliance here or Horde there. His family would build up these accounts, get raid geared, and then sell the accounts. They no longer do that, mind you. They never were caught, but still, I don't recommend that. Kids, don't get banned, please. But yeah, I remember that.
You might not actually read the TOS, but you agreed to it. So, yeah, be careful what you do. Just saying.
Yeah, and don't be a botter, don't be a douchebag, please. So, yeah, just amazing things that you've seen, and just how well geared these tunes were, all the professions, and just obnoxious amount of gold, and just out the window it went. And then they would start a new one, and yeah.
Hey, I mean,
just kept chucking.
I know for a fact that you can make money from that. I've never done it personally, but I would be lying if I said I never looked into it. Because for a while, I remember
they sold. I remember, they sold a raid geared. Now this was, was this? I think this was Wrath. Fully geared out. At that time, it would have been Heroic Paladin. All the mounts you can get, all the titles, gold capped at the time. Sold that tune for like $6,000. One tune.
Yeah.
I'm like, holy crap.
Well, just the fact that it was gold capped at the time would have been worth something, let alone everything else.
So, I mean, these people never slept,
Well, yeah,
so,
I mean, if you're doing that as a family, you can basically be on nonstop and just like, okay, I'm going to bed, your turn. Tag, you're it.
Oh, yeah, and that's what they did. And, the kids would be in on it, and their kids would be in on it, and, dad, one parent one time, and then another parent another time, and it was great. I mean, just to see that was awesome. And I mean, not the selling, but to see how much time investment and knowing what you needed to know for the raids and having the skill to know what you were going after was just great to see.
Yeah. I wouldn't even be able to think about selling my account now, not just for the fact that it's against TOS, and I really don't want to get caught breaking TOS, because that would be bad on so many levels. But way back, near, I think ICC was out, and my guild that I was in was literally dying. I was considering it. And this is back before I had, I don't know how many achievement points. I'm up to 24,000 something. I've got a couple. That kind of thing. Mounts, titles, all that fun stuff. But I just couldn't. There's just no way I could bring myself to do it now. So.
Yeah, especially with the connections that you make, you individually with your tunes of choice. Especially for me with Zeph and Maui, and now my Pandaren mage, Azajaya. For Zeph alone, I couldn't do it. And for those other tunes now, it's like I'm getting into those tunes, learning, like thinking of what their personalities would be if they would be real people. So,
yeah, I would have to clean out my friends list before I would even be able to consider it, and that ain't gonna happen. I've got some nice people on my list. Some, I would say, somewhat famous. I don't have Scott Johnson, so stop asking that question, guys. I wouldn't even ask for that, but I do have. I have some people that have him on their contact list. So I mean, and I'm just throwing his name out there as a example. But I've got a lot of podcasters. I may have a Blizzard dev on there somewhere.
mm-hmm.
I can't swear to that one, but I might not. I don't know. Every time I'm just going to stop right there. Yeah, I've got Thist on my friends list. Zeph, I've got you on my friends list. I've got Alessander, who, if you listen to podcasts, you know who Alessander is because she's in all of the chats. So, yeah, I've got I think I'm full on my friends list, actually. I think if I add anyone else, I have to delete people. And there's some people I could delete. I feel bad about it. But there's some people that, even though they've been offline for 3+ years, they are not getting taken off because they are an actual friend of mine. So, yes, Blizz, please. I realize why you don't want to, because who has that many friends? But there are people like podcasters or tournament people who need to have certain people on their list, so they need to keep it, fairly full. We could use some more friends. Bump it up to 500. That would be perfect. And it really, I don't think it's too much more data, but it would be nice. Also, more character slots in WoW, like total, because I'm running out of room. I had to delete characters so I could make my Critical Role characters that are literally named after the Critical Role characters in their game, and I have to level them up. But yeah, anyway, back to El Interviedo. PvE or PvP? Which version of at least WoW do you prefer?
Well, that depends. Depends on the tune, and it also depends on what mood I'm in personally. So my Torn Paladin, that I just boosted in the Lagging Balls community there, I prefer to PvP on her. I have been known to PvP on my priest, but with the changes, I really haven't all that much.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, mostly it's PvE. However, little known fact, I leveled Zeph on a PvP realm. I had to learn my class quick. And it was not always fun. It wasn't the type of play that I wanted to do constantly.
Yeah.
And, I did not like the whole Mist of Pandaria force you to PvP to get a legendary. And I thought that should have been broken up. If you wanted a legendary and you always want to do PvP, There had to be a divide in that, and that's where Blizzard, I think, did wrong by the players, but they fixed it, and we have this now, and it's like, okay, when do legendaries not become legendary anymore? Now you're just giving it to us like candy, or the potential to get them like candy. I'm like, like that doesn't, it doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, it's. I see pluses and minuses to all the legendary systems that we've had, both the drop or the, okay, you need this drop, then you need this crafting stuff. Now you got to go to this area to put it together, then you got to beat this boss. Or here's just a drop. Or, okay, here's this really long quest chain that you got to do. Anyone can do it. You know, there's pluses and minuses to every system that they put in. I don't know that there's any real way to make it really balanced outside of you put in your time, you get a legendary. Like, once you hit this much time at max level, here you go. I don't know that there's any way to balance legendaries any other way, and it's gonna be, it's just more stats. There's no bonuses or anything like that. So,
right. You know, and I think for me personally, you know, I don't mind working for Lego. I really don't. But the length of that quest chain, or being gated behind too many things, can become a problem. Pandaria was a good site on that. That was too much. Now, if they would have scaled that back a little bit, and maybe a boss here, a boss there, this instance, and then, you know, go over here and put everything together, that wasn't so ridiculously drawn out to where it felt like you worked for it, but then they kind of give it to you at the end, sort of, feels better to me.
Yeah, I remember the Pandaria, the cloaks. It was different. That was their first time going that particular method, though, so they were learning. I would say the Ring and Warlords was slightly better, but only barely. And
yeah,
then you
and
had
I think
method.
I think the cloak for me, because it was so universal, you know, if the cloak had a dynamic way of, like I said, PvP versus PvE, and those have a similar feel, but you would have to tell their system essentially which one that you wanted, whether being on a PvP realm, that would be the choice, or not. PvE, that's how you would. Or if you would have to say, hey, you would have to like click a box or check a box or whatever.
Yeah, like the artifacts, they have that system in place now. Actually, which one do you want to go after? Okay, this starts this quest chain. You could pick one or the other, or you can pick both event after you get the first one. That they could do that now with PvE, PvP if they want to do separate legendaries like the old method, instead of the you get a legendary, you get a legendary, you don't get the legendary you want, it'll be the very last one you get at the very end of the expansion, but you'll get it with the 1,000 doobly-doo thingies. You know, because that's what happened with my Fire Mage, actually. The bracers are considered best in slot. Well, guess what? I just got them, and I got them because I bought a legendary token with those thingy-majiggies.
Zeph has 15 of them?
Yeah, my Paladin has all the Paladin legendaries, finally. I'm working on my 3rd token for an alt. I got a mage one, which was funny to me because I just got the fire bracers on my mage, the same method. So I got an arcane, I think. Maybe it was frost. I don't even remember. It was a random mage one. I don't care. I'm not going to use it. But it's a pretty hat.
Yeah. Yeah.
The legendary
I mean,
system is interesting.
I pretty much live in my priest's belt in a trinket.
Yeah.
Trinket or a ring, so...
I got really lucky/unlucky with some Titan forging, so I can't even use my 2 best in slot legendaries because of the Titan Forge. Like, I got a Titan Forged helmet at 975 and Titan Forged pants at 980. Well, there goes my 4-piece, unless I want to get rid of my cloak to use a cloak for my legendary, and all this other stuff, and it just, the way it all worked out was just, and then so I'm using a normal cloak out of the current raid instead of the heroic one, which I didn't roll on, even though it dropped several times, but I didn't roll on because I had my best in slot cloak, and they won't give me my cloak because someone else could use it because I was in my best in slot cloak. I was like, but if it was just one of those things. So now I gotta wait until Mythic, and I'll be like, I need that because I'm in normal.
Right.
So you're gonna give me that freaking cloak. But it's just one of those things that it's a curse and a blessing. You get the huge Titan Forge, you're like, yes, and then you look at what you have to do to be able to wear it, and you're like, crap.
Yeah, like, oh yeah, oh man, that
and then you got
sucks.
And then you've got transmog on top of it, and
oh yeah, I have 107 transmogs that I use in the photo there. That's one of them.
Yeah. I don't even want to know how much money I've spent on transmog, on my paladin, let alone every other character. I would say probably transmog is my biggest gold sink in the game. Not flight points,
mine would be
not
the
deaths
battle
and
pets.
repairs.
Yeah, like mine would be battle pets. Then it would be transmog. Yeah. But at the same token, though, I've earned a lot of gold off of pets and transmog. So take it for what it is.
Yeah, I have a little bit of gold. I've mentioned not specific numbers, but there are 2 commas in my gold total. So I've got enough gold that I can get by. It's not an issue, but I've spent quite a lot on transmog. So, what is your favorite raid in WoW? Since I know you primarily play WoW, I don't know if you play any of the other Blizzard games. I never see you in any of them.
Yeah, well, I play Hearthstone, Diablo. Gonna get into the other ones here soon. But favorite raid? Favorite raid would probably... it's either Black Temple or Old War, because of the fond memories. Old compared to new, that sort of thing. But my favorite boss actually doesn't come out of either of those. It's actually a 5-man instance that I really like because there's a story attached to Zeph directly. Because, RP, I'm strained. Zephirah, the 3-headed dragon that you had to hit the gong for. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that whole feel of that room. And again, it varies to what I'm into. Like I can tell you stories from Black Temple, Alduar, ICC, Pandaria, even. Like, I hated the bugs, but I remember when I was on a raid team on Zeph and AIE, just this epic stories that I could tell you. Like, there was wow. Like, I'm just like my brain is ticking with all these little raid moments. and you're just like, yay.
It's not a problem. If you want to tell a story, that's fine. If you want to hold off on it, that's fine too.
Going Miss Pandaria, Siege, getting off the boat, going across the bridge. I remember my team being in towers. We were like mid-fight, not even almost over. Shot the dragon down, and we started to flop. Like, we were dropping like flies. Then it ended up being, I think, one of our ranged. If I remember correctly, it was a warlock, and then me. I was standing back near the king and Jaina and all that, and that warlock drops like a fly, and I'm like backing up slowly, and I fire off my penance, and then all of a sudden the boss is like coming towards me, and all of a sudden, boom, he meets the NPCs and he's dead. And all of a sudden you hear this uproar of nerdy screams, and they're like, "Oh my god, Jeff, you won it, yay!" And I'm like, did I just do that? And they're like, and I'm just like, how did I survive? Like, I'm a low life priest. Like, y'all don't want me doing this no more. Don't give me a stroke.
Yeah, I've had some stories like that. My personal favorite is not one that we beat the boss on, but one that I kept my raid from continuing for a good 5 minutes because my paladin just wouldn't die. I've told this story before. It's Elisand. I got stuck in the bubble, the immunity. I got stuck in the time trap for whatever reason. Like, when she resets, I got stuck in it. I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything, and she did enough damage to make my bubble, which was set to auto pop if I took fatal damage. Well, I got stuck in it, and because I was in the time trap, the bubble wouldn't wear off. So the entire raid died, and I'm sitting there in my bubble, and I can't do anything. But the boss can't kill me either.
Yeah, and you're technically in combat, so you can't even hearth out.
Yeah, I can't. You can use your Hearthstone in combat if you're in the bubble. That's actually what bubble hearth is. But I couldn't use my Hearthstone. I was stuck in the time trap. I couldn't move. I couldn't use abilities. Nothing. And the boss couldn't kill me. So it took the floor going completely black or whatever, purple, starry, whatever they did, and enraging, and finally, eventually, it was just there was an auto wipe where it didn't matter if you're immune or not. Eventually, that did win. But just that and I got stuck like that. I had to literally log out, log onto another character, wait a second, log back in, and so it auto ported me out. But unfortunately, that meant I couldn't get back into the raid without being summoned. So it was just a long way of screwing with my raid team. And they're like, "You did that on purpose, didn't you?" I was like, "Yes, of course I did that on purpose." And I'm like, "No, I didn't." So,
oh yeah. Like, I've really planned that, guys. So let's go.
I mean, if I could have planned it, I couldn't have planned it any better. I will say that. So I'm looking forward to next expansion. To what fight will the Pally bubble break next time? Because that's all.
I mean, we are going to be taking on Ashara, so that's a thing.
Yeah, it'll be a little while, but yeah, it'll be there. All right. So last question for the interview, because we've already gone quite a long ways, but luckily there's not a whole lot of news. And this is the traditional question. This is the one question I told you about ahead of time. What is your epic fail moment in gaming? Or not in gaming, if you prefer.
Well, let me tell you this little story. When I first got into WoW, like legit, and because other than from afar watching other people play, I physically wasn't playing the game. So I'm questing on this. I think it was a blood elf something or other. I know it was a blood elf, and I got out of the starting zone and onto the next. And I was passing, like, there was a lot of players around. I remember because there was a lot of people questing, and there was people talking and yada yada. And then all of a sudden, somebody says something via the chat, and I'm thinking, and I'm starting to interact, and that it kept going. Come to find out, it's an NPC. And then this one guy, some weird name, and it's completely inappropriate, but I vividly remember the name. He's like, "You realize that you are talking to an NPC, you weirdo. Stop it." I'm just like, but I'm having so much fun.
Okay, first off, that might be a little bit weird, but what difference does it make? You were having fun. Apparently, the NPC was replying to you somehow. So what difference does it make? You were playing a game in maybe not the most accepted way, but you were having fun. That's what matters. You weren't hurting anybody.
Yeah, then,
I understand
that's
where
one
you're
of
coming
them.
from. Yeah, I understand where you're coming from with the epic fail for that, because you didn't even know it was an NPC.
Now, that was like sort of my ignorance there. And then you have the traditional, you're up on your mount, you're flying, and you're out in the middle of gosh knows where, and you die because of fatigue or whatever, and you can't get back to your body, which I think everybody has done that once or twice.
I've only ever done it when I got up and AFK'd or alt-tabbed and was doing something else, and I'm like, oh crap, I'm still playing the game. The last time I did that, I had a 937 gold repair bill, because I carry so much gear in my bags too.
Yeah, I've learned not to do that anymore.
I'm weird. I have to, because if I get this one item, even if it's an item level downgrade, if it's a DPS upgrade, I will want to wear it. And because of that, I have to keep like 2 to 3 different options for every single slot, unless the item is obviously like the 975 helm or the 980 legs. Unless they are obviously nothing else is going to touch these, except maybe the tier pieces, and then I'll keep them. So that's 2 pieces instead of like 3 or 4. I will keep multiple versions of, this item slot, just in case the balance, I need it for the balance of the stats. And so, yeah, spirit resing is rather expensive for me. It's about it's almost 1,000 gold.
Yeah, coffees don't really have to worry about that.
Well, they normalized it, so it's everybody paying really relatively the same amount now. I just have that much gear in my bags on me. Like, I've got the biggest bags in the game outside of the one that's like 500k. I'm not paying that for a bag because it's only like 2 slots more than I have anyway. So I've got the Hex Weave bags, which are like 30 slots each. I generally only have about, now that I've cleaned them out a little bit, maybe 10, 15 slots. Outside of, potions, food, gems, that kind of cut gems, just in case I get an item with a gem socket.
Yeah,
but
I'm kind of on every tune. I have all the big bags, so 30 plus slot bags, and I'm just like, everything is sorted, and if one tune is not actively using a thing, it goes to Zeph, and it's my big bank, the bank. Yeah, she's like, I don't carry anything with me that I don't have to. So
yeah, I have, out of all of my tunes in CTR on that server, like I've got 14 on the server. I think 7 of them, maybe 8 of them, are in CTR. So I've got a couple that aren't, and the ones that aren't are bank characters, because there's only so much. This is before they
Yeah.
raised it. This is before, like, I did this before they raised the gold amount that you could have. So I'm
Right,
like,
and
had more.
Frexley actually made a good point in chat. We are going up to 34 slot bags in BFA, and right now, like, I even use void storage for certain things from things that were from way back. So I don't, like, for example, I have arrows on Zeph. I have ammo on Zeph. That no tune is going to use those now. How I got them is a different story, but still.
Oh yeah, I've got stuff like I've got specialty bullets in my hunter's bank. I've got Librams and stuff like that in the paladin, like feathers that you don't need for anything anymore in the like all those things, those mats that you had to usually buy from a vendor. All those I still have a stack at least for every single buff, every character, that kind of thing.
Right. Like, I know in Zeph's bank there is a chocolate cake that was bought from a Dalaran vendor and given to me in Old Dalaran for my birthday a few years ago that I will not get rid of, because and I'm one of these people that if I can make or talk to anybody in game, I do. And I'm just like, hey, what's going on? Or I like your transmog. Like, at one point I was in or on Storm Rage, the realm, playing as Alliance, with Zeph. Went into an instance. This is midway through Pandaria. Or not even that. Like, it was like early, like the first, not even the first raid was that, I don't think. And met a random person. And I'm like, hey, you did a really good job on your DPS. Keep up the good work. And I pulled him into my guild late then, and yeah, I mean, just random conversations, and that's how I got it. Got certain things, and people would give me things, and I'm like, well, here. Like, I know one time there was somebody else, talking, just, shooting the breeze. So they had a bad day, and I gave them something, and they traded me something else, and I'm like, I think it was one of them, like, one of those really, like, small, like, drinks that you'd get, like the alcoholic whatever, brewer of the month, and I still have that because I won't get rid of it, because it's the memory of the good time that you had, and you brightened somebody's day, or just said hi, how you doing? So
yeah, I don't keep that kind of thing, like the birthday cakes and stuff. Like, whenever I've gotten birthday cake from the one of few people who actually know what my birthday is, and they were like, okay, we're gonna eat it. I'm like, okay, and I sat it down in Wrath Dalaran, and a bunch of people came up, and I was like, here you go, have some cake, just because. So I mean, there's some stuff I keep, some stuff I don't.
yeah, like, I remember this was Legion. AIE was holding some sort of event. Fireworks were involved, and I still have a firework from there. That
Did
actually
it involve No Means Fiction?
No, actually, this was pre-Legion.
Okay.
Yeah, pre-Legion, and actually, I think Takamikizuchi actually gave it to me, and I kept one because he gave me like stacks and stacks of them. I was doing something for the guild, and I kept one. only because Taki gave it to me. Because that I look at that and I'm like, I remember the memory, or it establishes, or that thought process, the gears turning and remembering that memory. So I still have that. And Taki, if you're listening, I still have it, and I love you, bro, and I miss you in game. And one of these days we're gonna raid together again, because that is like the funnest thing ever. He is so funny, and just like some of the best people I know. So that, yeah, they're. So if you ever give me anything random, guys, in game, I may still have it. Actually, I have 7 of those in my bank.
Yeah, I just deleted them all when. I'm sorry, Darius. I didn't mean for it to go the way it did.
And that's the reason why I kept them. Because I sent a bunch of them to Darius, and he mailed them back to me because of this whole thing. And that's why I kept them.
It got to
because
the
it
point,
reminds me of Darius.
Yeah.
Like, Darius doesn't know that I'm weird like that and kept all of them. But Darius, yes, I have them. And if you want them, I have them.
It got to the point where he was just sending all of them back, that people started making new characters, sending him the mail on the character, and then deleting the character so he couldn't send them back. I did
that too.
I feel so bad because I'm the reason that happened. I did not mean for that. I was like, it was a conversation in guild chat, and all of a sudden I'm just like, oh yeah, Left Shark is the new Bat Guano, because that's what we were sending him at the time. He could at least sell Bat Guano. Left Shark has no value. So,
I at least sent him 100 of those things.
Oh yeah, I didn't realize it was gonna turn into the thing, and Cuddles, you did not help, but it was funny. I hope he didn't get too mad at us, but it was completely unintentional.
Oh yeah, and that's the whole reason why I have them.
A memory of that goofy event that lasted all of Warlords. Once Left Shark happened, it was. Yeah.
And Left Shark, the only reason why we have Left Shark is thanks to Katy Perry and her halftime show, people. So if you don't remember that, I'm sure there's YouTube videos. Go look it up. It's the funniest thing.
All right.
Like, that was 1 year that I did watch the halftime show. I vividly remember watching it live. And yeah.
I haven't ever in memory watched the game or the show. I will watch some of the commercials on YouTube after the game's over. That's it. I don't care otherwise.
You know, the last few years I really haven't either, to be honest with you. I remember this last time seeing the stink that was of Justin Timberlake's show, halftime show.
Yep.
But mostly I read the ones that were like I read the ones that were really bad. I read the ones that were, praising him, but the ones that were in the middle saying, "Hey, this was too busy," it didn't fit him well because it was so rushed. So, yeah, I mean, it's critical, but it was, if you're trying to do 7 songs in the matter of 20 minutes, of course that's not going to work.
Not so short songs, Jesus.
Basically, it was a medley of his new stuff and maybe a song or two that was old, of what I understand. I still haven't seen it, so I don't really have an opinion of it. I really don't have an opinion of Justin Timberlake either, but yeah, not my cup of tea. Like, my sister likes, NSYNC and all that, so she gave me a pretty good rundown of it, and she pretty much said the same thing. She's like, not that the songs are bad, or not that what he was trying to accomplish was bad, but if he had more time, it would have felt a little better and put together. But it just felt rushed and not great.
All right, well, we've derailed quite a bit from our normal topics, which is normal for the show, so I let it go. But we should probably do
plus you gotta
the little bit of the news.
I'm a vlogger.
Yeah,
so I'm a vlogger. I rattle about everything.
Not an issue. So we should probably actually do what little news we got. We're going to start with Heroes. And there was a reason why the pre-show songs were, well, we had the police and we had the cops theme. Because we're getting cop skins in Heroes. There was Lieutenant Morales, Greymane, and I believe Johanna are all getting cop-like skins. And
bad boys, whatever.
I thought they were funny. You know, I got a kick out of the quote-unquote advertisement of it. I'm not going to go out of my way to collect the skins, but at this point, I kind of have the skins I like for most characters, so unless they come up with something that's so amazing.
Right, and I think a lot of players are similarly have the similar feelings of that.
Yeah.
So,
but I love the fact that they're still coming out with skins a lot of the time, because maybe I don't have one for random character A that they bring a skin out and I'm like, that's amazing, I want it. You know?
I mean, the only ones that I would really be interested in are like the Halloween themed ones. Otherwise, I'm like, meh. It's a meh. I'm not gonna
Skeletor
go
for
like
the win.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna, like you said, I'm not gonna go out of my way to earn the skin if I'm not really into it. So
yeah, if I get them, great. I'll probably use them for a little while, but I'm not gonna be like, I must play 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for the next however long the event's going on. No, because these are one, they're just gonna be in the game. It's not an actual event, so we don't have to worry about that. But there's some interesting skins out there. I know Jules has a thing for the Greymane skin because she was talking about that on Twitter and I believe in her Discord also.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, everyone's allowed what they like, and that's fine. These ones, they look cool. I might get them. I'm not gonna spend the shards or whatever on them to get them, but if I get them, awesome. But there are rumors of, it's not in the show notes either, but there are rumors that the next hero will be later this month. And without spoilering, I will say it's either going to be Diablo related or Overwatch related. It'll be one of those two games.
And honestly, I'm leaning more towards the Overwatch.
I'm thinking it's probably going to be Overwatch 2 just because it's that big of a thing. But because I know the two option names, I'm hoping it's the Diablo one because I've been waiting on that particular character for a long time.
Right, and I think there's a lot of similar feelings on that. However, Wicked Kitten kind of stole my thought there. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
And for those of you listening, Wicked Kitten in chat says Sombra from Overwatch. That is not the name that I was hinting at. Just saying.
But Sombra would be cool, though.
It would be interesting. I don't know how they would do that, but it would be interesting. But speaking of Overwatch, something weird happened this week. Season 9 started.
Right?
Normally we have a little more time than like 3 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
isn't it more like 7-10 days? Like in between seasons?
Yeah, it's usually a week to 2 weeks, sometimes 3. Just as a cool off period. But no, they're just like, every 3 days you go. I'm like, okay. I have not started my comp placements yet. I usually wait a couple weeks just to get the super hardcore people out because I don't want to deal with that. Despite the fact that I know where my play level is. So, I just don't want to deal with that in your face all the time. So I usually wait a little bit. And then this other little piece of news for Overwatch. Some new hero.
Now is it
Brigitte?
You know, the first thing that I think when I first seen it, I was like, Brigitte? No.
That's what I thought too.
Right.
And then I saw it and I was like, no, okay, Swedish, so that means Brigitte. And then I heard Jeff Kaplan say Brigitte. I was like, okay, it's Brigitte because that's what they're saying. So,
exactly.
And that's what it said in the little trailer that they gave us too. She is a hybrid tank support or support tank. So she'll hit you with a hammer or heal you with something or other and has a shield like Reinhardt. So Reinhardt with heals, I guess, is the easiest way to describe that. It's a one-person shield, unless perfectly placed. You might be able to get one person or two people if you're lucky, but she looks interesting. A lot of people are going crazy that, oh my god, she's so cute. I'm just like, I don't know that she's of age to make that kind of judgment call, so... Plus, she's a cartoon.
It's the whole blondes have more fun sort of thing.
Well, I mean, plus it's a cartoon, so my interest completely is gone there anyway, so... But yeah, it'll be interesting. From what I've been hearing, she is really fun. She is not hard to pick up. On the difficulty scale, 1 to 3, she's a 1, which means she's an easier character. Which is big. That'll be good, which means I might be able to play her competently for my play level. Straw League for the win. But, yeah. Did you watch the preview or the intro to her or anything like that?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not very good at games like Overwatch, but I will certainly try.
I am terrible at Overwatch. When I say I'm Straw League, I'm not kidding. I am terrible. I just happen to get lucky from time to time and get a 6-person Riptire that kills the entire enemy team because they didn't realize, oh, that can happen.
You know, I just feel more comfortable with a controller playing that game. So if I ever sat down and even try with a keyboard and mouse, no, I couldn't do it.
No, I get
now,
that.
Heroes is a different thing. Like, I can do mouse keyboard on that. You know, Diablo, same way. I can flip in between the two. But, again, I've been playing Diablo since it's been out.
Time.
So,
yeah.
So it doesn't really matter to me. It took me a little bit to get used to the controller for Diablo when it first came out, but once I got a hang of it, it was a breeze.
Yeah. I couldn't play a shooter on a controller. I adjust the settings so much. Probably too much, to be honest. I should probably go in and fix that. But like even in WoW, which will be our next game of topic, the default keys that they give us, most of them are not the same for me. Like,
there's a few of them that are the same for me. Like, but it's for me. WoW is so. It's very basic. You know, I'm a very basic beep when it comes to that. You know, like, I have the default UI with the exception of I remove the griffins from the end caps. Don't like that. Never did. And I scale the UI down really small with the exception of my chat box. I make that bigger so I can actually, you know, fonts and all that. And I make that a little bigger so I can actually see. The only other thing that I mess with, other than what the game provides for me, is that I might move the map, the mini-map, up in front of my eyes, like kind of in the middle of the screen at the top. Now, unless I'm rating, then it goes back to where it normally is, so that way it's out of the way. Yeah. But other than that, no. The only add-ons I really use is DBM, Whim, to remove Griffins, and Sexy Map to move the map around. But other than that, nothing. I don't even like healing UIs because I feel like I'm cheating. So
I couldn't even tell you how many add-ons I use, and I do have a healing UI, but I also have a few healers, and I can't, just the way my brain works, one, I hate healing. So that's part of it, but I use between like I don't have it so that I can click on somebody and heals them. I still have to hit the buttons, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. But it's all mouse over macros, so whether I mouse over their party frame or their character or the add-on party frame thing, I still have to, heal them. So I don't think of it as cheating.
Yeah, I mean, I have the mouse over macros, but I have a gaming I have a gaming mouse, so it's the SteelSeries Diablo mouse actually. So
yeah, I have a $30 Logitech mouse. It's wireless. It's also brand new, like this 2 weeks now, maybe, because my other one was dying. It's the next upgrade, but I'm eventually going to get a gaming mouse. I just haven't been able to. I mean, I could have, but I have other things I should spend money on instead.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of like UI, my UI is default with one exception. I have it's called Ice HUD, and all it does is have these little curved bars. Health bar, mana bar, and target.
Doing that. Like, I tried doing that. Like, even when I bought the new computer, like, that, for me, like, my eyes, just, it's too much. Like, I can't adjust that the right way to make me feel comfortable with that. Yeah. And I don't know what it is. Like, I've tried going all through that, and yeah, I might need somebody to, kind of talk me through that. Because sometimes, and I have a really good computer, I have a really good monitor, so graphic settings are fine. It's just like my eyes sometimes does not translate those bars very well.
Yeah,
so
that's fine. I mean, I use it just so I don't have to worry about where my health is and if I'm on a particular character that needs to worry about mana and all that. Like, I can see right next to my character where my numbers are, or at least an estimate of where they are. So that's the only reason it's there. But I mean, I've got things for the mailbox. I've got add-ons for the freaking auction house, add-ons for talking to people. I mean, I could show you my add-on list and you'd be like, holy crap, that's a long list.
Yeah.
But not all of them are on every character. Like, I have some add-ons that are for my paladin only, for my mage only, death knight only. Like, I have character specific add-ons on top of that. But in terms of like a UI thing, that's the one change that I made, was I put those bars next to my character just so I don't have to look up in the corners or things like that.
Yeah, and I think that how I set the UI, default UI, kind of helps me out. And plus, I kind of, moving the map around and moving your character thing up in the left-hand corner and moving it above me, or somewhere in the sides to where it's not, depending on the fight, things move. So, just depends on where I am.
Yeah.
So it's an adjustment every time.
Yeah. If I move that particular character thing down to my character, then I wouldn't need those bars because they would be right near my character. But I like my version better just because it takes up less screen, as opposed to if I brought the whole thing down, then I have the portrait and the bars and stuff like that, and I can just have these little itty bitty strips.
And again, it might just mean changing what I do with that add-on. And personally, I might try LBY, but we're gonna have to
you need
talk
to
about
walk
it.
Through it.
Yeah, and and I think with Fresley, he'll kind of understand, and I might even ask you, and I know some other guys from the raid team use it too. So
I don't have it, so I don't use it.
God, you said you use all those add-ons. I
have
figured you do.
I have a ton of add-ons. Yeah, that's not it. The UI add-on I have is just called Ice HUD. That's it. Everything else is stock. And people are like, how can you do that? I was like, I'm used to this. I know where everything is, including all my freaking macros. Like, I have Shift G, Shift J, all these other Shift Q and all that. Like, my entire keyboard, with the exception of W and S, is custom. Nothing. Well, I mean, obviously 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, etc. Like the ability things are normal, but beyond that, everything is custom. Like, strafing is not the key that is default. Turning is not the key that is default. The only thing, walk forward, walk backward, abilities. That's it. Everything else is custom done. And that's just because it didn't make sense to me the way it was.
And I think what helped me is that I played other, pre World of Warcraft, all of those, WSAD, and the arrow keys are the same in most MMOs. So I figured, why not just become familiar? In the event that I would decide to want to play another MMO or whatever it was, and I'm happy I did it that way, so that way I'm not relying too much on something different, unless there's some sort of specialty thing in games.
Yeah, if I can't change the keyboard, the things, I couldn't play some games. Like if I couldn't make A the strafe key or D the strafe key, I could not play a game. Like, wow. So if there was a game like, I would literally be like, I need to bring this back. Why? Because it is literally unplayable for me. I cannot play it because the keyboard is not right. It's got to be the way it is. Like, having it the way the default setting was made no sense, and if I had to keep it, I can guarantee you I would not be playing Warcraft right now, today. Well, obviously not right now, but...
Right.
You know what I mean.
But I'm happy that you're with us, though. And, and I'm learning that everybody's a little different. And
I'm a lot different.
And there's sometimes to where there are certain little things that people do that might be beneficial for me too. So that's why I'm always willing to take a look at things. So, LVUI, I'll take a look at it and see if I like it or not, kind of work with it for a little bit. And if I can't, I can't. Like, that's fine. But, I'm always wanting to make sure that I'm not interfering with the understanding of the class that I'm playing. Hence why I didn't or don't like using a lot of the Healy add-ons to help you, because it's like I have so many minimal things happening that feels like it's just in the way. So, and that's just for me. Like, not everybody can play a healer or even has the desire to, and if they have to, they need the extra help.
That would be
now initially, and that's perfectly fine. And for some people, some levels of things, you need the extra help too. Like, some of these mythic raiders, I'm surprised that it's like they don't, like, some of them use these really nifty healing add-ons. And I see how they're doing it, and I understand it. Especially if it's coming from, like, a paladin, priest, druid. Like, I could see it. Shaman's not as much, because I don't have a direct connection with higher level shamans.
Riptide,
or at least not yet.
Chain heal, Riptide, chain heal.
And that's what I'm starting to see that, but
that's a
I
little
need to
simplified,
play
but yeah, it's kind of like that. That's, at least for my level of it, that's what it is.
And I noticed that watching Bartholomew, his streams when he streams the Rubber Chicken raids, I'm seeing what he's doing and what things that are apparently obvious that he's using for add-ons, and what he's comfortable with. Like, I think his screen's a little busy. Like, that is way too much for me. Like, I couldn't do it. But yeah, but I see where why he does certain things, and where he stands for the class he plays.
Yeah, now, keep in mind, a lot of these add-on things that you're saying is too busy, he didn't start off like that. Like with me, I didn't start off with the add-ons I've got. They build up, and they're just like, oh, okay, I got used to this. Well, now it's second nature. Let me add this other thing. And eventually this is what happens, is you have all that stuff on the screen, and you would have been like, 3 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to keep up with all this. So keep that in mind whenever you look at someone's screen. They didn't start that way. It eventually built up.
And I'm starting to understand where all of it is for him, because I'm starting to understand his play style. So to see where those things are and how they work and yada yada, I get it. Like, I'm starting to get it. And with that, and I'm directly going to say this, yes, because of Bartholomew, I've kind of rewrote my mouse over healing add-on, healing spells. So, and that, it seems to be working okay, but I haven't really tested it enough to feel comfortable with it yet. So I'm getting there.
Yeah, I gotta rewrite my shamans, because for whatever reason they broke. Like, if I'm moused over somebody, they work, but if I'm not, they don't auto on me, which is what every other one of my healing classes has. So for whatever reason, the shaman one broke, so I gotta fix that. But since we're talking WoW, and have been for most of the show, yeah, WoW news. As of yesterday, guess what turned 1 year old?
Them tokens that are way too high.
Kind of makes you wish they were last year when they were like 35K, doesn't it?
Right.
They were down to 20, 35, yeah.
I remember at one very brief moment, they were like 18K.
Yeah, I know. I bought a lot
Jeez.
of them. I bought like almost the full year worth. I bought enough whenever they were that cheap, all the way through this past December. And only recently have I started to have to buy them again. So, yeah, it's been interesting. 1 year of WoW tokens. What I would like to see, though, is different, like, instead of 1 month token, they could do a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year token. And they obviously would have their own gold, and they would, that kind of thing. I just
right.
kind of would want to see where it would go.
Yeah, I mean, it would be like whatever the 1 month, times 3 times.
Well, I mean, it would
6.
It'd still be the supply and demand thing. So you might actually make some extra, pay extra gold for the long term or whatever. But
yeah, exactly.
Or
like, I would even like to see them. I would even like to see them do like a year token, just to see how that would. I mean, of course, I don't want them to break their game. I want them to test it. I don't know. That seems like something that could be beneficial. But again, not everybody will be into that.
Yeah, like I said, it wouldn't be a huge seller. I just think it would be interesting to see.
I mean, I'm sure that there's going to be people that are going to be like diving in and delving in and being like, "Oh, I want that token." But yeah, like,
yeah, if it was cheap enough, I'd spend the whatever gold it was to do that. But I have a feeling it would start super expensive gold wise, and eventually would drop down because people would be like, "Yeah, I can make all this gold from it." But crap, nobody's buying it. So
But it also depends on economy, what's going on. I can even see them doing this for like one time, in and around expansion release for like a month or so, and then in and around BlizzCon.
Yeah.
So that way they can put it up as needed, take it down as needed, because, if you have your token at current prices, of course nobody's going to buy it. But if you do it around BlizzCon, that's going to come down. And that means more money into the Azeroth and back into, Blizzard and all of that. Because, you're sitting down, I've known a few people that would buy a token, put it on the auction house, buy, the game, or renew whatever it is, and they want some gold, and it's a whole thing. It's a whole back and forth tug, and it will always be that way.
Yeah.
Like right now, it's March, so we have time before the next expected expansion is going to be here. So, I mean, August, I can see those tokens coming back down.
No. Come near expansion time, those tokens are going to skyrocket again. Happens every time.
I mean, but I'm saying it'll go down and then right back up.
They're gonna.
So
what normally happens, and this is just from what I've seen, they'll fluctuate, a little bit up, a little bit down for a while, eventual down slope for a bit, and then as soon as an announcement happens, skyrocket. If like the day the Allied races, they're playable. Here you go. Skyrocket right then and there. It took most of the day, but they did break 200 something K.
Wasn't it like 200?
It was like 220.
Yeah,
something like that.
220, 221, something like that. Yeah.
So
yeah, and it will eventually break back down, like because what's March, April, May, June, May. I'm thinking, and then May, and then August. By the time August rolls around, it would shoot back up because of BFA.
Well,
that's what I'm thinking.
Whenever they announce whatever is going to be in the collector's edition, that's when it's going to jump up a little bit, and then it's going to come back down again. But as soon as it starts getting expansion time, like that last patch, they're going to
definitely
they're going to skyrocket, because that's what happened last
time.
And
that's, they're saying expected date is
by September 21st, which is the last day of autumn. One of them.
Yeah.
It's basically it's going to be before that. Current estimates put it in late August.
Yeah, and I'm thinking right now the way that it looks, summertime. I think I don't want to push the expansion too early, and I think Blizzard's going to be sort of, because we don't have that final patch yet, so they're going to need time.
Well, we've got 2 more patches left. We have whatever is to wrap up actual Legion stuff, like the final patch of technical Legion, and then there's the pre-patch for
the pre-patch, yeah.
BFA, which is going to have all the class stuff. They might combine them, who knows? But yeah,
they may. And that's a definite, like, I'm leaning more towards that than 2 patches.
Yeah.
Because of the expected release date.
I don't think that, like, the last quote-unquote patch of Legion is going to be, like, this huge, like, oh, here's 7.4 or anything like that. I think it would be more like a 7.37 or something like that, just to not do 8.0.
Right, because 8.0 would be
the pre-patch for BFA.
Pre-patch, yeah. Yeah. So, and then 8.1 would be what the next raid?
Well, it depends on how they want to do it, honestly. It could be 8.0.5 or something like that. It just depends on how they want to do it. Usually the raids come in the 0.1, 0.2, that kind of thing, though.
Okay, so I'm thinking, okay, other than the raid, so something big would have to happen before the raid then.
Yeah, there's the major and then
So,
there's the 0.5s, which is usually story content and systems.
yeah, so since we're on this, any predictions to what that, or any thoughts on what that first major thing would be? I mean, I have an idea,
For
but
next expansion?
Mhm.
The first,
like a point,
first major,
the first major
like,
pack,
not raid.
right?
Oh, it'll be something story related. If I was to make a guess, I would say it's gonna have something hinting at Queen Ashara, just to intro her a little more. I know there's a little bit of intro in the alpha, without going into any spoilers, but there's not a whole lot there. So I think a little bit more to do with her, because she'll be we already know she's the last boss of the second raid.
You know, and they may surprise us with that too. That may change because alpha / beta things can and will.
They said it at BlizzCon. They're like, the last boss of the next raid, Queen Ashara. I'm like, I was kind of hoping she'd be later, but okay.
Right. Now the thing that I'm thinking, because of Queen Ashara, Old God, something Old God related specifically, and
I'm thinking
we definitely have one, and there is a potential for another Old God, but I don't think that we'll see that right away.
Technically, we have the
sort of the
potential
unknown.
for all of them.
But I'm saying how the lore is written, it suggests that we have an old god that's not very apparent, that's not a lot of story behind it, as of right yet. But they can always write another thing in there. You know what I mean? Like it's possible.
Yeah, I think the last raid of next expansion is going to hint at old god stuff, and we're going to get an old god expansion afterwards. I don't think we're going to get an old god directly next expansion, sadly.
Oh no, not directly. Heavens no.
It's definitely going to hint at it though.
Oh yeah, very heavily invested. We're going to see how all of this connects. Why the tree was burned, all of this. Who did it, why, what was the purpose. Honestly,
The
I
Night
don't
Elves
think
tried
it was.
to teach him how to cook.
Well, other than Namion, other than the obvious, I don't think that it was directly what we're thinking that it's about.
I have a tinfoil hat on it. I've explained that before, but
yeah, like I think someone was some being, like somebody, some random elf. They were taken over by an old god, their spirit or whatever, however you want to call it, and that's why the thing was burned. That's what I think the story is. But you can wear your tinfoil hat.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna rip that from anybody. Like, I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I do not claim to know anything from Blizzard Entertainment. They didn't tell me anything. I do not have friends on the inside.
I will claim to know anything I want to claim to know. That doesn't always mean it's true.
Exactly.
But speaking of old gods, you know that person who likes soloing things? I'm calling them an old god now because holy crap, this person, Mionee, who is currently running, I believe, not their Death Knight but their Demon Hunter, soloed Court of Stars 22.
I don't even like Court of Stars on normal, let alone a plus.
I mean, I can solo it on heroic on my paladin, not a problem. I could probably, if I'm careful, maybe even Mythic 1. Like normal Mythic. I can't imagine trying to well, then again, I could probably go Prot. It would take a little longer. But I can't imagine 22. Like, I have never even done a 22, let alone soloed the thing. Holy crap, dude. And I know it's a girl. But holy crap. If I could currently bow on camera, I would. 22, Jesus. So, grat.
Well, I'm sorry to have to tell you, Wicked Kitten, but I think Mionee stole my heart. She's still only 1/4 stars, you know. Have to love the girl.
Also this week, we got the new battleground for our brawl, Seething Shore, which I haven't gone into yet, just because I don't really PvP. I kept meaning to, and then.
And plus, it's sort of the schedule for that was off. It was sort of weird, so it's an off sort of rotation. I've seen other people play it. I may try it a little later, after the show.
Everyone I've talked to has loved it.
Yeah, like I've seen, or I've heard from Hazelnutty Games. She mentioned it in one of her videos, and she said she really liked it.
I know Thist has been going around saying it's her new favorite battleground. I mean, I've seen videos of it. I just haven't actually gone in, and I know I should because it's essences that I haven't been collecting. But at the same time, I have all the paladin ones, so I'm not really overly worried. I have the mage one because I play fire, so I'm not overly worried. And all my other characters, I don't play as much as I could, so I'm not overly too worried about legendary.
Well, even then it's like, Legion hasn't been all friendly, but there are exceptions to the rule on that. Like, there's a lot of players, or some players that are like, no, I want them, and I want them now. Like, I want all of my alts, all of the things, all of them now. So that's just the way it is. Like, there's some people that are more motivated than others.
Yeah, I mean that's fine, but I used to be like that, and then I realized I don't have the time for that, because that's 12 classes plus 36 specs. No, I don't have the time to grind out all those legendaries. I don't have the time to get all those hidden artifact weapons. I don't have the time to get good enough on all those on every one of those specs to get the mage tower. Like, I just did the mage tower for my fire mage yesterday or the day before. I still haven't. I did it. It took me 2 tries.
Yeah, and that's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, that's the first time I went in. I was like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing. I went in. I forgot to interrupt something. I died. I went in. I interrupted it. Guess what? The boss died because I overpowered it. Same thing I did on my paladin. I overpowered it. But then again, that one had a couple mechanics that you couldn't skip. I went in as Frost for my mage, thinking, oh, no problem. Nope. Can't do it. I know what I have to do. I'm not good enough at Frost to do it. So, to someone out there who wanted me to do their Frost or Mage Tower for them a while back, I'm just going to say I told you so, and you know who you are. So, the only other one that I want is the Havoc Demon Hunter, because it's the Fire Glaives. I mean, I've got the the Black Temple lookalike thing from the achievement. I've got that. So if I don't get the fire thing, fine. But I really do want it. And I gotta unlock those. Which means I have to play my Demon Hunters. But
yeah,
that's neither here nor there.
I mean, I don't... Like, those are cool. However, I'm going to say this, and I know this is such an atrocity, and a lot of people are going to be very upset with me, but I'm like, do I really need those? I have so much transmog now. Like, I'm sort of indifferent about it, because it's like, it's the difficulty is so kind of out there. So I'm sort of, it's not that I don't know how to play these classes. Like, I could probably do an Alma Mage, no problem. Not an Arcane. I know it's, Frost, like you said, has been harder than normal.
Well, that's just for me. I know someone else who one-shot the Frost and took a little while on the Fire. So it's just, I know Fire better than I know Frost. I know Ret better than I know Prot and Holy for Paladin. So
I mean, I don't think that for me personally it would be a problem for Frost or Fire for me either way. But Fire, notably for this expansion, or at least right now, you're going to just blow a face no matter what you do. Even my undergeared Fire
you have to
spec will do it.
You have to have a certain level of gear to do it. But if you are able to overpower it, it is a bit easier because you can just out DPS what they were planning on doing. But
I mean, and you've seen my my mage, and she is undergeared, so I sort of like, I don't like, there are so many things now that I have for my tunes that I'm sort of like, I don't see the enjoyment out of that right yet. But I guess I'll try it. Like, I don't know, I'll try again. But I know one spec I won't do it in is Arcane, and I know that I won't try Holy for my priest either because I just don't care. Like, I don't know. It's too cookie cutter for me.
The only reason I even went on my Fire Mage was I just happened to pass over it and I saw the tower was completed. I was like, oh, I'll go ahead and try it. And then I got really close. I was like, oh, okay, well, at least... And that was a blind go-through. I didn't know what it was. And then I just tried it again and I got it. I was like, yay! And then I just went around and finished my world quest. It just was one of those, okay, sure, why not kind of things. It wasn't a, I'm going to go try this today, as opposed to when I did my Paladin. But for the Demon Hunter, I do want those glaives just because they look cool. The rest, almost all the rest of them, I mean, the Prot Pally has the flail. That would be cool, but it's not something I must have.
Yeah, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. It's like some of those things are cool, some of those things aren't.
I wanted the Ret Paladin
one. Things similar.
Yeah, I wanted the Ret Paladin one because I know what I'm doing with Ret, and I wanted to be able to say, yes, I know what I'm doing with Ret. And then I wanted the Fire Glaive one for the Demon Hunter because they look cool. Outside of that, I didn't see any that were like, oh my god, I must have. There were some that look cool, and I'd be like, I might try for them. That'd be cool. But if I don't get them, I'm not going to like, why, Bliss, why was it so hard? Why can't you just let me steamroll it? No, that ain't going to happen. I don't care enough. Something I do care about, though. The Mythic Dungeon Invitational is coming back. In fact, it has begun. Sort of. Proving Grounds have started. Which means you have to go through, do Mythic Pluses at a certain level. I believe it's 17? Somewhere around 17, 20. Within a certain time frame, you have to do enough of them, like all of them, within a time to do it. And then you could possibly get in the tournament and win some money and, be on Twitch and stuff. Did you watch the MDI last time it was on at all?
I've been working here a little bit, so during the day, so it's kind of hard to catch them always.
Well, it hasn't been on yet. I'm talking like the last time when it was actually official.
Yeah, I had a weird work schedule then, so
okay, fair enough.
Working and but when I caught the tail end of it, not the the VODs at the tail end, and kind of watched them through. They're exciting, but it's like,
I would
rather run the race than. But even then, it's like I don't have a team, so.
Yeah, I'd rather run it too, but I particularly, in my case at least, the MDI was more entertaining because it's two teams going at the same time. You're seeing both of them, as opposed to the arena, which it's still two teams, yeah, but it's not really it is a race, but it just. I find that the dungeon part more entertaining than the PvP part. PvP ones can be entertaining and exciting, don't get me wrong.
Well, for me, it depends on who I'm watching. Yeah,
that's part of it, too.
If I'm watching, like, Swifty or Van Rookie, then sure, absolutely. Van Rookie, I actually, because he tries different classes and stuff like that, then that's pretty cool. I think recently he's been doing, like, I know he's done mage. I think he's done paladin stuff too. And I know he's played on his druid PvPing. So, and those are all classes that I really enjoy. So, and Swifty's always been sort of the same, plays the same sort of thing. So
he's a warrior. I can only watch so much of him, though, is the thing.
Yeah.
I can't, I can't watch him for long periods of time. I just can't do it.
No, if it's like straight arena, yeah. Or if it's straight just PvP, like going in and doing 2s, 3s, whatever, then yeah. But other than that, not the random stuff around it. Because it sort of gets strange, and it doesn't have a very nice feel about that. Like, that's not my style. Like, if I'm gonna go to your stream, I'm either gonna do it because I really enjoy the content that you're creating, and it's something that's kind of paced. Or if I can actually learn something from you, then I'm gonna sit there and I'm gonna learn. So, I mean, I've learned a lot about the class because I've watched him PvP. Or I've learned things about PvP that I didn't know before because he said, this is what I'm doing, and this is why I'm doing it, against, other classes that are not warrior. So, I mean, I know more about warriors now because I've just seen it. Or I know more about mages because of what Venruhi has done, or he's explained it, why he's done it in a certain way. So, same thing with the druids, druid healers in PvP. They do certain things a certain way when they see certain things, and I've picked it up, and I'm like, oh, okay, that's what I need to do, and that's what I need to do when I do this, because of this. So it's that critical thinking that I have now because of that. And now I'm able to spot it and get better at the class, essentially.
Yeah, I get that, but everyone has their own what they're into, or how they like playing, or like what they like watching, so that's fine. We are running really long though, like we're almost to the 2-hour point, so we need to finish up so we can get out of here because I kind of gotta use the restroom soon. That's gonna get edited out. Anyway, so that's really it for live. Non-spoiler Battle for Azeroth stuff. Zandalari Druid forums. Oh, Blaz, I love you sometimes. Their bear form is the turtle with spikes. Their boomkin form looks like
a chicken.
It looks like
sort of.
It looks like an Arakoa pterodactyl love child. Kind
David
of
Bowie. David Bowie and WoW.
Yeah. I mean, it looks interesting, but they haven't really shown anything else for the other ones. We have confirmed the orc race is for the Maghar, which is the ones from Outland. I believe Nagrand.
Yep.
So, brown orcs, yay. And also, first aid is weird.
It's always been weird.
Yeah, they're all signs are pointing to them getting rid of it. Basically, is the
yeah,
version,
absolutely.
which I'm fine with.
I'm fine with it too.
Yeah. And that, I believe, for news is going to be the show. So, Zeph, since you are the guest and you are also a female, you get to go first. Do you have any shout-outs or anything like that you want to give to people?
First of all, Frasley no pants. Put your pants back on. It's okay. You'll be fine. To my most recent, or one of my most recent community spotlight people, Wicked. Thank you. You are awesome, honey. I love you. Keep doing what you do. Because we need you here. We need people like you. For the Lagging Balls crew, for CTR, the usual lovey-dovey. Hi, Dad, Pat Crane. Hi. But yeah, that's the huge.
Okay. As for me, for a shout out, I just completely blanked on the name. So I will say to you, person whose name I completely blanked. First off, I'm sorry I forgot your name. Second, you know what you did. Thanks. Smiley face. So contact info. So Zeph, let's say someone wants to get a hold of you, like social media stuff. How would they do that?
Best way? Twitter is one. So it's Zephirah _Zella. Or my Discord. I have a Discord for the vlog. Or, even CTR has a Discord, shout me out on there too. Or I'm often in the Frazzlecast Discord. So I'm there too. And I'm also in the Lagging Balls Discord. Hi. I'm sort of everywhere. I'm also in the AIE Discord. So, stop in, say hello. Same way it's spelled here on the show notes or wherever you see my name written. Yeah.
As for me,
so sort of everywhere.
Yeah. As for me, getting hold of me at Draven Dresden over on Twitter. As long as you're polite, civil, we're cool. Discord. Show has a Discord. bit.ly/epicfaildiscord. All one word. Easy peasy. We also have a Patreon if you decide you want to throw money at us. We'll question your mental stability, but we'll take the money nonetheless.
Throw him all your biddies.
Yeah.
All the biddies.
Yeah, but that's patreon.com/podcastepicfail. Just because I like being similar but not identical, I guess. Legal speak for a second. The show opening theme song is from bensound.com, and it is licensed under Creative Commons by Attribution 3.0. So that will be a show. Zeph, we have one last tradition, and that is, do you have any last words for the show?
I'm officially stealing this from Lady Emma because you can always eat her law cookies.